time to continue our focus on the counties in 47 days of accountability. And tonight, our eye is on Embu County, what the auditor had to say in his report 2014-2015 financial year. And looking at the development expenditure, 1.5 billion shillings is what was budgeted for. And in this particular expenditure, 645,642,362 shillings was utilized, resulting in under expenditure. Now, the Auditor General also finds that in as far as the budget for development, it was unrealistic. That is what a statement that is made in the Auditor General's report reference to Embu County. Then there is unsupported expenditure, if we could move on to that. And the Auditor General finds that there were no documents to show the development projects. That 7.4 million shillings was set aside by county executive on various trainings. I think we're still on the earlier board, if we could move on. Then there was the case of travel expenses. And in that particular matter, 11 million shillings, 40,000 used on per diems for MCAs as well as CECs. County executives spent 14,587,000 on 5-day trip by MCAs. This was to Arusha, Tanzania. As well, in that particular matter, the Auditor General finds that there was no proper documentation for the same. Moving on to irregular withdrawals, as is here on our Super World, 6.3 million shillings, money that was paid to individuals, institutions for undisclosed reasons. So alarm is raised and the red flag is raised on that. 66.6 million shillings, an expenditure on education could not be verified. There are also no records on bursaries that were maintained on the same. And one more highlight there for you tonight, 82.7 million Kenya shillings, expenditure on water pipes that, according to the Auditor General, was unaccounted for. So that is a look at Embu County and, of course, some of the queries that have been raised by the Auditor General for the financial year 2014-2015. And staying with that, we want to look now at a report. So tonight in our series of 47 days of accountability, we focus, as I mentioned there, on Embu County, where we are also looking at the assembly members, and the spot is on them, the spotlight of an unjustified trip to Arusha, Tanzania, that cost the county government a whopping more than 10 million shillings. Akisa Wandera has more on the audit queries raised over those trips.
Ni aibu zaidi kwa sababu ile ripoti ambayo tumeweza kupata kutoka kwa Auditor General inadhibitisha ya kwamba wale viongozi ambao tumewachagua tukawapa kura, kazi yao badala ya kuwa ni kufanya waone ya kwamba wananchi wameweza kufaidika, ni kwenda kujifaidisha wao wenyewe.
A trip by members of the County Assembly of Embu to neighboring Tanzania has drawn the wrath of residents after audit queries were raised over the legitimacy and spending on the trip.
Ripoti ambayo imetolewa na Auditor General imedhihirisha kwamba kuna uvujaji wa pesa ambao umeweza kutumiwa kwa njia ambayo haistahili na viongozi wetu. Sana kwa hizi tour ambazo wanazofanya nje ya nchi.
According to the report, a total of 1,927,190 shillings was paid to a travel company to facilitate trips to Arusha and Mombasa. The more than 30 MCAs and members of the staff committees who travelled were paid a total of 11,040,179 shillings as honoraria and per diem, an amount that continues to anger residents who question the need for such trips.
Milioni 10 jamani ni pesa ambayo kama ingepelekwa mbele watu wangeweza kupata maji ya kulima na ya kunywa. Milioni 10 ni pesa ambayo ingeweza kutumika, mabarabara yetu yangekuwa sawa. Milioni 10 ni pesa ambayo ingetumika, madaktari wangekuwa wanadawa hospitali, watu wangekuwa wanateseka.
But what exactly took the MCAs to Arusha warranting such spending?
When we went to Arusha, we really wanted to benchmark on the issues of the Maasai, the Serengeti, how they do their things in terms of how are their parks managed.
Runyanja's MCA Steve Simba is, however, quick to defend himself and his colleagues, and while admitting the trips were quite pricey, he says they are justified.
We could not have avoided some of these trips. They were very critical. Actually, there would be no assembly without those trainings.
For every one trip, the MCAs spend 10 or 7 days, and according to the report, they always hire a bus that can accommodate all of them. The county government then parts with almost 600,000 shillings to pay for this.
An average of around between 20 to 30,000 per night out, depending on exchange rate.
Wanataka kwenda nje ili uweze kupata allowances kubwa na nono uweze kufinyilia watu wa Embu. Jambo la kuudhi.
The noise made by residents of Embu, however, did not fall on deaf ears. The MCAs are not oblivious to their sentiments, but they believe the trips are for the good of the entire county.
People are talking so much about those trips, but I can tell them, even if we have new MCAs, they have to be trained, because ignorance has no defense, and you cannot enact a law when you're ignorant.
Other members of the county assembly, while contacted by KTN News, argued that the trips cannot directly be realized to benefit the common mwananchi, but are for the purposes of educating leaders. Akisa Wandera, KTN News.
So it's the